What the fuck is up, everyone? Prison Miller here, back with another video. Today we're going to discuss the big four of Deathcore. Just like I did with Melodeath and New Metal. As you may know, guys, big four, just like big four thrash, just like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. We're going to do the big four of Deathcore. Now, when it comes to Deathcore, we got two bands that definitely should be in the Deathcore, and as for the last two, is kind of debatable. So let's start with the first two bands that would easily be in the big four. So the first band we got is Suicide Silence. As we know, they are definitely probably the most popular one in the genre, along with that other band, which I will mention very shortly. Suicide Silence, as we know, Mitch Lucker, with their first three albums with Mitch Lucker, as we know, after that, the third album, he passed away from a motorcycle crash that hit the pole and such, which it killed him. Back in 2012, they got some classic albums such as The Clean Zine, No Time to Bleed. No Time to Bleed is by far Suicide Silence's best album, in my opinion. That's obviously my favorite Suicide Silence album. And then after he died, the band kind of went downhill. I mean, Eddie Herman was fine. I mean, I know he was from All Shall Perish and such, but he did fine on vocals. It's just not the same without Mitch Lucker, you know? So I definitely think Suicide Silence belongs on the list. Alright, next band that should easily belong in the Big Four Deathcore, just like Suicide Silence. And the next band we got is Whitechapel. Just like Suicide Silence, they definitely belong in the Big Four. They're easily one of their most popular ones. The band is known for Phil Bozeman's deep growled vocals and such. They're pretty consistent. They're one of the more consistent deathcore bands out here, even to this very day. Even though the band did change their sound a little bit with the albums like The Valley and Kin, as we know, those albums are about Phil's childhood trauma and such. But as for Raw, they're from Knoxville, Tennessee. They definitely have this, like, the riff sounds a bit like Tennessee-ish. Phil's vocal sounds phenomenal at most with his deep growl, especially with their early materials and their newest album as well. So, yeah. I mean, Whitechapel has influenced many bands today, like Lorna Shore. They're pretty much influenced by Whitechapel as well. So, yeah. Whitechapel definitely belongs in the Big Four Deathcore. Now, as for the last two bands, this is more like a personal pick for me. So, the third pick, I'm going to have to pick Carnifex. I personally think Carnifex belongs on there. They're probably the heaviest one I would pick. One of the heaviest deathcore bands out here. I mean, their first album, Dead in My Arms, is definitely a classic album that definitely caused them to be quite popular at most. Same with The Season to Poison, and as well as, I would easily say they're probably the Slayer of the Big Four, like, especially albums like Hell Chose Me, Until I Feel Nothing. Die Without Hope is such an amazing album, I'm not gonna lie. That's probably my favorite album by them. And then they got some, like, Genty stuff. They have some, like, black metal elements throughout the 2010 materials and such. So I would easily say they belong in the Big Four, Carnifex. Now, the next band, the last one out of the Big Four, I'm going to have to pick Thy Art Is Murder. I know many people may debate. Like I said, the last two are kind of debatable. Like, it's either with Chelsea Grin or Despised Icon, the Acacia Strain, or Job for a Cowboy. Personally, I would have to pick Thy Art Is Murder, because they got a pretty good discography as well. As we know, I know the recent album they changed vocals because I think their vocalist CJ McCahan, I can't pronounce his last name. He got fired over some Twitter posts. He got fired the day before their newest album came out, and then I think the reissue version of their newest album replaced with a new vocalist or such. So, yeah, it's named Tyler Miller or something like that. Just like Carnifex, I'm not sure if I would consider them as Anthrax of the Big Four, because it kind of has the same sound with Carnifex does. Like the first three mentions, they're from the US. Thy Art Is Murder is from Australia. They definitely they are pretty big in the Australia sound, as we know. So I would have to say, I mean, you know, like, their 2012 album, Hate, is definitely caused a larger audience, even though I know Thy Art Is Murder came out a little later than those three bands I mentioned, but not too late. I definitely think they belong here personally. They're definitely one of the more bigger deathcore bands out here, so yeah, I think Thy Artist Murder deserves the list. Alright guys, so that is my personal big four of deathcore. What is your big four of deathcore? Let me know in the comments. So yeah, I think the best big four of deathcore would be Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, Carnifex, and Thy Artist Murder. I think those are the big four of deathcore. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Subscribe for more content and all that bullshit. And I'm going to go ahead and get the fuck out of here. So I'm out.